Welcome to the BEFREERE podcast, where you learn how to make your job optional. I'm your host, John, who's just getting started on his journey. But in the last year, I moved across the country, bought 4 apartments, make money as a landlord, no longer pay rent, and I have my first child. I'm joined by your co-host and my guide, Tony Angati, who in 5 years quit his job and now manages over 80 units through a combination of house hacks, flips, and partnerships. So, with that, let's jump into how you can do less of what you have to do and more of what you want to do.
Tony, welcome back. How are things?
Yeah, things are good. Yourself?
Yeah, man, things are going really well for us. We're in the middle of refinancing our properties, so that's probably the main thing that's taking our time up right now.
Nice. That's exciting. You gonna take advantage of the super low rates?
Yeah, we snuck our refinances in before the government tax got slapped on them, so happy about that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar about with this government tax, embarrassingly. What is it?
Oh, it's basically a fee that they assess on refinances. So there's so many refinances coming on that I can't remember exactly how much it is, but and I actually think Congress is fighting it. So by the time you're listening to this episode, listeners, this thing might have been repealed. So investigate. But it's like a $500 to $1,500 penalty essentially on a refinance, which is pretty sizable.
Is it just a closing cost then?
Yeah, essentially. I don't believe it's a percentage of loan value.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and I guess a small tip for our listeners is if you are talking to a mortgage broker, they might even just eat the fee for you if you're already doing it because they want your business. So you should ask. You should ask if they'll pay for it because that's what our broker said they do.
Also, unrelated to refinances, if you are in Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania in general, happy eviction day because the eviction moratorium was lifted in Pennsylvania. However, happy not eviction day because now that stuff came out with Trump and how nationally they're trying to put a hold on evictions until the end of the year. So looks like it may not be over anytime soon.
Yeah. I'm just like you didn't know about the mortgage fees. I'm very happy not to know about that. So
yeah, I'm not super familiar with all the details yet. Once everything kind of shakes out as far as actually getting passed and getting pushed through, right now it's kind of all like up in the air with what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. We'll probably touch on that in the intro to one of the future episodes. However, right now, just know that Trump is trying to push through a national stay on evictions. Yes. But at least for the time being in Pennsylvania, there's a small window of a few days where you can get your eviction paperwork in and get rid of all those people that were gainfully working and still not paying rent.
Well, congratulations, I guess I should say. So today we're going to continue to work through our mailbag. So we have Edwin from Texas writing in about a horror story on a foreclosure that I assume it's he bought. And then we're actually going to switch into a new, I don't know, what do we call it? A new series, a new segment. Yeah, there you go. New segment where
that's the drop.
It's going to be called Florida Man Tenant, where we essentially tell you terrible stories about tenants to help inspire you to better screen your own so that 1, you don't have to know about eviction moratoriums, and 2, it's just kind of funny. So, all right. I guess with that, let's jump into Edwin's question, unless you got anything you want to get off your chest right now, Tony.
It sounds like you want to get into this. This is a long write-in, so bear with us while John gives you story time.
All right. It says, Dear John, oh, and I guess Tony too. No, he didn't write that. But anyway, I recently bought a foreclosure with plumbing that hadn't been updated since before I was born. When I started working on it, there was a permanent dark yellow-brown stains in the toilet. So I dumped a bunch of toilet bowl cleaner in the tank, which is not how you get rid of hard water stains, I've learned. The cleaning gel gummed up the valves in the tank, and the next thing I knew, my brand new, in quotes, foreclosure was flooded with toilet water. This isn't the end of the story. It was clean water for the tank, so I mopped it up and pathetically called my plumber for help. Before he showed up, a colony of cockroaches emerged from the walls. Everywhere. Apparently I had flooded their home in my quest for a squeaky clean toilet. Soon after that, a mouse joined me and the roaches. I guess he had been flushed from his home as well. I called my plumber and haven't returned to the place since. What should I do? I hope that's not true because he wrote this over Instagram. But anyway, it's a pretty good one. I need a moment to process this.
Yeah, well, I think that in some areas of the world, cockroaches are considered a delicacy. So depending on who's looking at this may just be a tasty snack, right? Like, At least for the mouse. I don't know.
I'm gonna pass on that, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't remember if we talked about it on the show, but my experience with cockroaches, we had a building had a bunch of them in them. We had it treated. All the cockroaches were killed, and when I went to get the basement cleaned up, no one would do it. People will treat them. However, I could not find anyone to actually remove the carcasses.
Oh wow! What did you do? Just go in with a wet dry vac?
I went with a granny style, like a broom and dustpan and a dust mask.
There you go.
And there were like 500 or 600 of them. They weren't
holy smokes,
coming from the walls like live. Like it sounds like this scenario. This is like out of Saw or some crazy horror movie
Foreclosure
business.
Nightmare book. Yes. So
yeah,
for Edwin's benefit,
what they should do is grab some gasoline and burn the house down. It's probably.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm sorry this is happening to you right away off the bat, Edwin. Yeah, I mean, toilets aren't that expensive, so that would be my first piece of advice is next time you can get a very nice toilet for $200, and you can get a very functional toilet for $100. So, you're probably trying to save a little too much money.
In any event, so serious advice, if you're going to keep the house, number one, if you have a water problem going on, which it sounds like the water problem probably stopped because they were mopping it up, so it probably wasn't like squirting water everywhere. But you should never just leave, because leaving the water problem will result in floors falling in and ceilings falling and large scale issues. So I assume that didn't happen. But what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to call your very friendly pest company. Possum treatment optional. You hopefully don't need possum treatment. However, who knows? This house seems like a ecosystem in and of itself.
Yes.
But yeah, you got to call them and get that cockroach treatment. You probably got to tent the house if it's this serious. I have never tented a house. However, I did talk to someone today who said that they need to tent their rental, and the tenants refused to leave. They said that they would prefer to stay and live with the pests than be put up in a hotel for a week.
Wow. Well, okay, I agree. Tent the place, get it solved. I mean, here's the good news: you don't have anybody in there, so be expeditious about it. And yeah, I don't know. When I lived in California, people had to tent their places all the time. I don't see it often out here in Pittsburgh. I guess it's cold enough that whatever, you don't have to do it
all the time. Did they get like colorful, cute tents?
Yeah, they did. Well, it was like, yellow and blue. It looked like a circus tent, though. Yeah.
Nice. A flea circus in a way.
Exactly like that.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's a great joke. Yeah, so you're gonna have to clean the cockroaches. This one actually might be something where if there's enough of them and you have water and mice and stuff, you might just call like one of those disaster cleanup companies at the end to come. Just like, they're expensive, but you're gonna have so many dead animals and insects in this place that there's no way I would go in there and clean that up myself. I'm not that brave.
Yeah. Also, there's a main water shutoff valve, so I hope you shut that off. And it's just one toilet flush overflow, I'm hoping. So I'm hoping we don't need fans to prevent mold growth and all that here. We're being very worst case scenario. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're not really helping Edwin out here much. Sometimes people are looking for advice on how to take a cold bath, and my advice is get in the water and get it over with as fast as you can. So that's kind of how I feel about this, Edwin. I'm sorry. There's no advice on taking a cold bath.
No, you just got to jump in and get your hands dirty with the cockroach carcasses.
Yeah. I would try a wet dry vac for that, though.
Sponsored by Cabinet Jacks.
Cabinet Jacks.
Multi-use. I'm sorry to hear this, Edwin. This is unfortunate. All that I can say is that I feel your pain and had to clean up cockroaches myself. And I will say that after the first 50 of them and the first one that you see still crawling, you just kind of become numb. And at this point, cockroaches don't really gross me out anymore from that event. So you'll get through it. It'll be cool. Gut the house and call it a day, and never tell the tenants that this happened.
Yeah. And also write us in when it's all done.
For sure.
Curious how this goes, how it ends up. All right. Great. So I think we're going to switch gears from that into our new segment of Florida Tenant. So Shipdog writes in about Florida Tenant. I had this family move in and they used the dishwasher and it broke. We had a repairman come in and check it, and he deduced that we need to replace a part that the tenant had broken. The part was only available online, so he told them to wait and not use the dishwasher. Later, they called us complaining that the kitchen was flooded. The floors are hardwood, so I was quite concerned. I asked what was going on with the dishwasher and why they were using it, to which The wife replied, "How am I supposed to wash the dishes? With the hose? There is a deep sink about 2 feet away from the dishwasher." So, there you go. Make sure that you're screening and vetting your tenants before they move in.
How do you screen for this, though? Are you like, do you give them a dirty dish and say, you have no dishwasher, how would you clean this? And then show them pictures of like a garden hose, a sink, and like a kitchen sink and a bathroom sink. Be like, which one do you select?
Yeah.
Correct answer. You're permitted to enter my apartment. I'm really imagining this person like going to the hose bib outside, hooking up the hose with a like outside garden sprayer, throwing it up through the kitchen window, and spraying their their dishes like over the sink with the kitchen hose or the garden hose.
Yeah, or like using a pressure washer to like blast them into oblivion. I don't know, Tony. The point is we're just trying to scare people so that they do a good job.
Well, yeah, but there's no solution here other than the picture test. You could give them 3 pictures, Colin. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I don't know.
It's a very long application and screening process.
Yeah, it's very.
And it really just results in you getting clean dishes in your house because you ask people to demonstrate how to clean dishes on your dishes. Yeah, transitions, our strong suit. What did you? I guess we're transitioning into the "What did you learn this week" segment. I'm doing the host duties again. I'm very bad at it.
You work too hard. You care too much. Alpha male.
I am the captain now.
Yeah. Dude, great quote. Great quote.
Yeah, so what did you learn this week?
This week I learned like why the 1% rule is the 1% rule. So, for everyone who doesn't already know, the 1% rule is essentially when you buy a property, you should be getting 1% of the purchase price in rent. And that's like a very simple, the math is very easy, but it always kind of irks me when I don't actually know like why is that a good rule of thumb. So the reason why it's a good rule of thumb is you're getting 1% every month. So that's going to be 12% a year. And you're going to give 50% of gross away for expenses, another rule of thumb. So that leaves you with 6%. And then you should have some appreciation in the property, hopefully not negative, between 0 and 3%. And that gets you to some rough range of pretty competitive returns compared to the stock market. So there you go. That's what I learned.
You looked that up in a book somewhere.
Oh, yeah. That's from the Choose FI podcast. Pretty good. Not as real estate focused as us, but very practical advice on how to be financially independent and scrappy.
That's good. That's good. So what did I learn this week? I learned that when you're close to closing a deal, instead of haggling last minute things, you should just close the deal.
Ooh.
There's a very important reason for this. We are currently purchasing a property and some occupancy stuff came up and we were trying to negotiate with the seller last week on Wednesday, and come Thursday the dude disappeared. No one can find him. We can't find him. His lawyer can't find him. His tenants can't find him. There was a gas leak at the property and the authorities could not get in touch with him. Dude is a ghost. Wow. And we were supposed to close today. Obviously that did not happen. And now we're trying to figure out where he is and wondering if we should file a missing persons report.
Wow.
Because
tune in
we
next
literally
week
have no
to see
clue.
what happens.
It will not be resolved next week, but that's okay.
Next month. Yeah.
Tune in next year when our podcast has much higher production value.
Yeah. I do think there's a very good lesson there in like negotiating versus grinding is what I've heard from other people too. It's like, sometimes just get it done. Done is better than perfect.
Yep. So that's my life lesson. What's our phone number to call into?
412-212-8366.
You read that in a book too. You studied. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I learned. We're on Instagram at BEFREERE. Tony's at 412agent, and we have BEFREERE.com. If you please give us a call, leave us your name, where you're calling from, and your question, and we'd be more than happy to answer it on the air. And we promise we won't make fun of you.
Your tenant may get made fun of, but not you.
We will try and make light of the situation. We'll be laughing with you, not at you.
Sounds good. Peace out.
See you, everybody.